All right, hello everyone, it's Heidi and I'm working on a fourth grade question now based on the work that your math leaders did when they observed at Brookside, and they have already shared that with you. So now we're looking at this for a fourth grade specific question. All right, so this is the 3 reads protocol that you are familiar with, and we'll share the deck with you as well, so I'm not going to worry about that. So let's go to the next. Okay, so my very first slide here, my first is reading for context. You'll notice all the numbers are in here, right? But now my question to you as a student is, or you as teachers of students, is let's just talk about what's going on, right? What in the heck is going on? The soccer team, what are they doing? I'm going to pause for a minute so you can read through this if you haven't already. You might have, but I'll pause for a minute. Okay, to be fair, I know that wasn't a full minute, but you can read as we go along. So here we have a soccer team. We know they're selling water bottles. Why are they selling water bottles? To earn money. But these are all questions that kids can come up with as well. So when I did this, who is this about? Like when we talk about the character, and I heard that today when I walked around. So there are 2 things. There's a soccer team. That's really the character. Okay, so whoa, I don't like that at all. How do I get to my, there it is. Okay, so I need to be white ink. There we go. Okay, there we go. So my soccer team, that's my character. What are they doing? Number 1, they're selling, and I would just talk about this because really this part is just understanding. So the kids don't have to write all this down, but we might jot this down. Or they're selling water bottles. What's the second thing they're going to do? They're going to buy soccer balls. So there's things happening here, but we might not have more than one step based on the information that we have, okay? So we're earning something by selling the water bottle. So, okay, there's information that we're going to come back and do something here. And then we know something about the balls themselves. Do you see what I mean? So I'm selling water bottles, but what do I know? All I know about the water bottles is I know the total, okay, of what I'm selling all of them for. And then I have this going on. So we're going to talk about that in the next step. But in the just reading for context, I have a soccer team. They're selling water bottles. They're buying soccer balls. And in the end, do I want to know? What do I want to know? I want to know how many soccer balls. Oh, again, I have to do this. Wow, I didn't realize it's going to go back on me. Okay, so number 3, again, I want to know how many, and because I'm just writing this for teachers, I'm just going to do that. How many do I need? All right, so that's my first step. Again, establishing context, because they just want to zero in on the numbers and just go to town and not understand what they're about. So that's what we need to do. Okay, so let's go to second slide. Thank you. We did this. What's it about? Perfect. Okay. Now, there's a lot of questions that happen here because there's obviously an animation in the slide deck when you see it. And that the questions are going to come in. So what do we know? But let's think about that step by step. When they sell the water bottles, right, we can talk about, well, what do we know about selling the water bottles? I earn a total of $170. So really, the selling water bottles, not really anything to do with the end result, is it? It doesn't matter how I got the money. That's kind of, it's information, but it's a little distracting, and we have to be prepared for that. So in the end, 2 ways I can show this, right? And I would probably just do this. So here's my $170. Now my question is, if I were going to draw a bar model for this, now I've taken care of the water bottle part of my list of questions. The second question was, how many soccer balls? Okay, so that means I'm taking this and I'm dividing it up. But what am I dividing it up by? I'm going to guess, because 9 is odd and this is an even number, that there's going to not be the total amount, right? We're going to have money left over. And that might be something you talk about. It might be one of those questions that you let them brainstorm on. So now I've got $9 each. So I'm just going to write $9 here. And I probably would show this to kids. Like, this is the idea. I don't know how many times that's going to show up, but there's going to be a bunch of pockets for $9, right? And the question is how many of those, because that's my question. This is one way to show this in a bar model. So then we have to make a decision. What does that look like? What's the operation? What is it that's happening here? But that becomes, so when you talk about this, you're talking about quantities and their relationships. It's the $170 I have to spend, $9 for each soccer ball. How can I attack that? Okay? You can see here when she clears the ink for us, you can see that they have a lot of questions. These are beautiful. Okay, so when you do get this, look at these. Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay, we're going to go ahead again. All right, now we're going to get to the point where we solve it. Okay, there's some strategies going on here, so I'm going to take a moment. This is the 3 reads, so keep in mind, 1, just set up the context. What's going on, who's happening, what's going on there. Don't get too heavy into the numbers. Step 2, you get heavy into the numbers. How would I draw the model out? How would I picture this in a sense? 3rd step, now we're to the point where we're going to analyze the things that we've talked about. Okay, so I had that situation. I'm going to redraw it here. Okay, I'm going to draw the 170. I'm literally going to draw knowing I have something left over. So I'm going to redraw this so we see this. This is not the only way to model it, but I don't, the idea of these, the dots in between is I'm not going to try to do that, okay? But 170, oh my gosh, that divides so nicely by 10, and 9 is so close to 10. And to be fair, this is something I even saw in today's walkthroughs. So what do I know? What if, and I can ask these questions, what if the soccer ball was $10? How many soccer balls could I buy? And obviously you're probably even responding to me now and saying 17 because you know that. So I know, so there are 2 ways for me to handle this question in 4th grade. I know that 170 divided by 10 would be 17, okay? So I already know, but wait a minute. Dividing by 10, dividing by 9, that's 1 less each time, right? So I would have to say, I mean, I could work from that, or I could, so I know my answer of 17 is at least I'm going to get 17 balls out of this. But maybe I could get 18, so let's see what that looks like. So when you do the division, the old-fashioned way, so to speak, I know we're all thinking this, right? Well, 9's only going to, not even once, 9 can't go into the 10s. So whether you do that, whether you put a 0 here, or whether you just don't put anything there, I realize 9 can only go into 17 once. Oh, I did put a 1. Wow, okay. See, I told you I wanted this to be authentic. So let me go, does it let me erase on this?
Just use the back of the pen.
Just use the back of the pen. Oh my gosh, that was way too simple. Okay, lots of schools, lots of different whiteboards, just gonna say that. Okay, so let's do that. So what do we get here? We know we get 8 and then 0. It won't go 9 times, right? Because that'd be 81, but it will go 8 times. There's my 72 with 8 left over. Well, what do I do with the 8? If I go back to my picture, that's this leftover bit of money is the $8, right? And how many of those are there going to be? There's going to be 18 of them. I'm going to say 18 balls, because that's what each one of these represents, right? Because the 18 times the 9 is going to give me that value that's $8 less. So there's my question. How many can they do? Keep in mind, this is a 1-point question. I know that's a hard reality, but the reality is they can buy the greatest number of balls they can buy. If they can buy 17, so I know my answer can be 17 or a little bit more, and there's 18. So you need to have that reasonableness check in there. So I hope this helps with using 3 reads. Thank you.